big thing. We are back with our Reasonings with Odessa live podcast, and this time we're doing it a little bit different. We have joined forces with the Jamaica Book Festival. I'm really excited to be a part of this. I was really happy when Latoya and Joelle hit me up and said, hey, Odessa, we want your podcast to be a part of the first Jamaica Book Festival. So moving on, we are going to talk to you guys about my very special guest. But before we do that, I just want to check again if everybody in there have subscribed.
Yes.
To the podcast.
Yes.
Have you subscribed to Reasonings with Odessa on Instagram?
Yes.
All right. And have you subscribed to O Access Jamaica on YouTube?
Yes.
All right. So that's good. All right. So before I introduce my very special guest, this man is like one of the dopest, coolest, rebel, radical brothers. You're still a brother, you know, Unks? You're still a brother?
Oh, dear. Balance, you know.
Yes. So
Like my sister's my best friend, Balance.
I call him, I just said Unks because he is like an uncle to me. And he's a man that doesn't really come out much to do anything. So it's really, 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 really a big honor to have the man that they call the dub, the father of dub poetry. Welcome to Reasonings with Odessa, Uncle Oku Onuora.
Yes.
All right, we're going to get right into this. You were growing up in Franklin Town, and did you ever think, growing up in such a community like that you become a prolific writer and poet?
No, I didn't have that vision. There was no indication. Well, as a writer, I always just love to write. So my English teacher was one of my friends, you know, because you would get a composition to do, and you know, when I turn in my work, say, Orlando, it's not a short story, it's a you know, I mean, so I had this flair for writing, but never really saw myself becoming a known writer.
And especially coming out to Franklin Town, what was it like growing up in that community at that time?
Well, yeah, Franklin Town, no, them is an inner city.
Uh-huh.
All right, working class here. When I was growing up in the 60s, it wasn't as extreme as it was, but ghetto as them that they call it. Euphemism nowadays them call it inner city.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. See, working class. Yo, it was like, you know, and I was the only child until I was 15 years old. So me kind of spoiled. My mother and my grandmother grew me two, man, you know. You couldn't want it better. For real. My attitude and my outlook in life, my mother contributed greatly to that.
How? How did she contribute to it?
Her mannerism, her values, her values and her attitude.
She's strong.
Yeah, you know, so most of my attitude or my attitude and my values, my mother ruled my love.
Were you always a rebel growing up?
Always a rebel. From a born, me a kick. Always a rebel. I've always been a rebel. I've always, as a youth, I championed the cause of youth, and you know, I'm still championing the cause of youths.
Yeah.
From a youth till now, you know, yesterday, today, tomorrow, I say.
Yesterday, today, tomorrow.
Yeah, man, change, man.
You were mentored by your brother Nigos, who taught you about Rastafari. What went through your mind when you were learning these teachings? Like, how did it shape you when you got into that?
Well, Nigos was unique. Them say like a track, like, you know, Nigos was unique. Nigos wasn't the typical Rasta man.
What do you mean by typical?
Well, when you say typical, Nigos was a Pan-Africanist. And his view and his outlook and his utterance were not really in sync with the traditional Rastafari movement. Because Negus would be into, like Nkrumah and what was happening in Ghana and what was happening in the US, like the Black Power movement.
True Pan-Africanists.
Pan-Africanists, okay? Where the traditional Rastaman that me know, because I know a few in them time there, were more that, it didn't like to use the word religious, but it was more biblical thing. So Negus Bible was like, Nkrumah hears him. Soul and Ice and them kind of sitting there.
Nice.
As opposed to King James did. And, of course, the traditional Rastaman would speak of even Nkrumah and all these people. But
I don't hear many people talk about it, like many Rasta talk about Nkrumah as much.
Well, in fact, the bulk of that early movement, was supported by the Rastaman. Rasta have always been revolutionary, dead to black and white oppressor.
Why do you think now it's so much about one love and that kind of vibe?
About the one love. The thing just, after a while, I did an interview a while back, and I spoke about entertainers using Rastafari as costume. And a reality that, because not for the entertainers that we see as radical entertainers, them soft, them are not lying, them are posts. You understand? Because them talk one thing today, they are shapeshifters.
Yeah.
They are shapeshifters. Yeah. Me, say, yesterday, today, tomorrow. Because when I say yesterday, I say today. You have a whole heap of one of me know. Because you have some people, me call them name again. You understand?
You don't need to.
Like all the taste and the shift and the shape shift and all them things. You don't have to go in and sitting for a one, use a one imagination. What I talk about? What? Kingston Book where?
Kingston Book Festival. No, Jamaica Book Festival.
Jamaica Book Festival. So, all the taste and, it's, and them a joker. You come and you go talk about groundwater. The Mandela that, like a plagiarism. Go with that. So, when I said, that like a costume thing. I met Bob Marley not in Trenchtown, but after I came from hell, like a prison.
We're going to go into that in a minute.
Yeah, and I met him, Judy Moore had taken a collection, my first collection of poems that was published while I was in prison, to Bob. Them time I'm there between Miami and Jamaica, I'm there on Freedom Mosque. So I met him after I came from it. So I know Bob Marley from Trenchtown. But one of the things I noted about Bob Marley, because I know what you say, but how you do.
Action.
Body language, you say yes, but then what? The body language just said no. So, because we're connected, Because it's a universal one, basically. So it's connected universal. You can tune in. Energy, frequency, and vibration. Energy, frequency, and vibration has been, is, and will always be. Yeah. So, some costume thing. Well said. Yeah.
So you were talking about prison, and you went to prison, as you told me, one time, but you escaped twice.
Yes.
How did you escape? That's what I was. You want to know?
Yeah. The first time I escaped, I was remanded in custody at the Southern Street pier. At the courthouse on the RM, the RM.
Off East Street.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was remanded in custody without bail. But we didn't tell the man them over the jail said that essential. Me don't tell the man them said me get bail when they see me, because that was the last date. So you knew what would take place. Whether you'll get bail or, they might remand you and send you to a GP for remand center. But we didn't know, because the prosecutor had objected bail. Because he claims that me and my friend them up in Warwick Island, we run up and down in Warwick Island, them things. So, man like me not forget bail. Anyhow, when I faced the judge, I was remanded in custody to stand trial at next session of the Home Circuit Court. I decided, say, me don't, me know that. And prior to that date, while I was in jail, I took man them murder, then kill, we try escape. Yeah.
So you were not having
them, don't beat them because them say thief not like the thief with lamb out. You know what I mean? So when them think that one, the man will drop a stone on the man's head, are one of the biggest thief probably. I'm just
saying.
Yeah, anyhow, So never get bail. So I decided, say, boy, I'm not go back over Central. I'm not a romantic. So I escaped. I escaped through a third floor window. The police that was escorting me downstairs, I kind of realized I take a step him up, kind of. So as opposed to take one step, I take two steps. so all I need was a nudge and he flew and I'm just jump through a window and drop into the yard, round where the car them park up like judges and people working in the courthouse and them things. And there were two prisoners, short-term prisoners. Like I didn't get 10 days and them things. Go out.
Yeah.
Jail thing. And I saw the two of them and I was just looking at them, the two man, I simple as that.
Hot.
So me never need to say nothing. Me just look at the guy and make a guy know, say, yo. Me just look at the guy. And me just step. And waited until it was dark and then I walked on East Queen Street past Central Police Station because if you escape, you want to look for them on the side street, like large street and then nothing. So if you walk on the main now, a guy now have a look for you and then me ready, I mean, like I'm very...
You can fit in.
Yes.
Wow.
So that was the first time I escaped. And the second time, a friend, a brethren, one of my brethren, still my brethren, both of us had escaped from out Spanish Town police station. They had built a new section with them called Regal. And when them build Regal, them say Regal was escape cool. But now my brethren escaped from this one. Front page star. The first one, the front page star was Mysterious, was Daring Escape of Prisoner. So the second one was Mysterious Escape. Yeah, because the man them never said, they said they don't know really. And we didn't get caught
that time.
It was after that second escape now that I got shut up.
Yeah.
Because I then Ruben Wild, my old lady said to me, say, boy, she can't take that. Kill. So she begged me to chill, and me and she were up the same times.
Oh.
I said, yeah, mama.
Yes, sir.
And she didn't miss a visit. If you want to come check me, I have to come with my mother. And I just see her see me. What? I said, brother, bless up.
Can I say?
Yeah, man, because I'm a mother, man.
Yeah, man. My mom is right here.
Chat, man. I'm not a private conversation. So I want when she leave, them just come and heal me up.
Well, speaking of mothers, my mother's right here. And if I didn't know you, it's because of my mother, how I know you and I call you uncle.
I knew you from your a very small child.
Yeah, about 5 or 6, 7?
Yeah, 6, 7 years.
What was that, Mum?
That time.
About 5, 6 or 7.
A London. Yeah, man. Come to spend a whole heap of time in London.
Long time.
Yeah. I never like America too.
No.
New York, I'm a place I want. I like New York because the diversity and the wildness. Because we are young to be the center.
So while in prison, that's where you took up poetry. What was the first poem that you actually wrote while you were in prison?
All right. Originally, I wanted to become an investigative journalist to expose the wrongs of society. Because I'm still influenced by the spoken word. I'm still, news and them things that I grab books and, information is my thing. For whatever reason, I've always been, with the word name, empathic.
Emphatic.
Yeah, my mother, if my mother go on and my mother says some of them sidewalk, 10 people past him, And my mother would have rummaged through her purse and find some change to give that man something. I can remember once, them time they never a supermarket. They have the China shop on the corner. The corner, we use the corner with the upstairs space, so the business was downstairs and yeah. And we went to the corner shop, the grocery shop, the Saturday, and we saw a crowd before it. And then we approached, there was this woman, she was very frail in her dress that made her even look frailer. Yeah. And people gathered around her, and we learned quickly that where she lived in Bondum, so she moved all her clothes and her husband and her son and thing. So my mother just listened a little bit and going to the supermarket, going to the grocery store. But I noticed because I followed her, she used to drag me everywhere she go. She used to all embarrass me too, because when I go out a movie, you know, she would have turned across the road and I said, Charlie. You know, I feel like a Charlie, see your mother.
Yeah, I'm a girl, you.
You know, I mean, it was like, but then that's her way up. And she wouldn't come across her accident. She would follow over on the other side.
And just watch.
She got one spill off, and then we had our next bridge, you know, she probably could have become joined something.
But the empathy she had for this woman.
We went to the grocery store, and I noticed she was buying like for something that was one ship, but you should normally buy.
Yeah.
And she would say to me a couple of times, look at the woman still up there. And we'll look and say, yeah, man, still up there. When she came out, the woman was still there. Few people were there. And she said to the woman, you eat from morning. And the woman shake her head. And she said, come with me. And she went home, she took this woman home, and as she reached in, so she start to make some tea. The half of bread, and she know, and you know, buy, she start slice up piece of it, and you know, coconut tin up a can of sardine, and fix some sardine, bread, and tea flour. And then now she start to take out some process. Your son in, but she said, you want to say, yeah man, like people feed me, dancing, and she said, same. My stepfather, my one and only sister, and I'm her one older. Them time she never born, but you know, mother watched them at the time. She started to take out clothes and was vexed because I know my grandmother did it, but you know, Chuck because Mama sweet and about it, well, and she gave the woman some clothes from Sonning, that's her man at the time, my clothes, and some things from grandmother, because grandmother, it's small, you know, and
petite like you.
When the woman was,
she
gave her some food stuff, and she gave her money. And the woman walked down the road, and my mother had this big smile on her face, man, like, just give her some arbeit for her. I don't think that you got, you know, people. They didn't say that, but, you know, so them kind of experience them. I come home and I say, mother said, me I'm look at one room, look a small room, and single bed with a clothes. And mother said, don't go down there. I said, yeah. You know, but I can't chat because my drape me up and married, you know, and things. So, when we looked at the room, we decided to look at Mike, we look. There was a young lady sitting up the edge of the bed. Feeling newborn baby in her con. So I think she was sleeping with my grandmother until a couple of weeks or so passed before the young lady. We didn't know one, but the young lady got pregnant for our boss son. And so, you know, because my mother different thing. My mother is always giving and she's always the cat.
So you could say you're definitely your mother's child.
My mother wasn't a weakling, nor my grandmother, especially my grandmother. So this is why when we chat about man, you promise so we can respect.
But was your first poem you penned, was it about your mother?
No, because but what happened, I started to do a correspondence course in ICS. International correspondence based in Miami, wanting to become investigative journalist. But soon I'd be hearing stories and I'd be writing some poems based upon what I was hearing. My first collection of poems, Echo, there are just about 2 poems that allude to prison. I'm not write the poem about the prison condition. I spoke about conditions that lead those into the prison. So while doing this correspondence course, I lost interest in that, doing this whole thing, this poetry, because I come out of my cell and I said, yo, fire. Will you? Because from them time, the name fire, them can't fire.
I can understand why.
Well,
You're fiery.
Yeah, I'm in love, set fire.
What?
What to this nerd here, man? That fire, man. And watch it blaze. Enough night, 1, 2 o'clock, maybe light fire. Anyhow, so I'd come out and, the brethren, I said, why am fire? What kind of thing, right? And I'd do a poem that I wrote. And I realized that presenting this poem would bring an audience.
Oh.
And ones would be really looking forward to hearing a new poem. And I'm looking at like, this medium of communication is a powerful medium of communication.
Oh.
Because Negos, I got that from Negos. Communication, passing on relevant information. So that's why I got caught up. And my early poems were, like poetry like on Echo, on Great Times, poems that spoke about conditions that led youths into prison. Not prison condition business. Because we're not dwell upon that.
No, move on. But you also won 3 poetry prizes.
Well,
What for those?
In 2 years, I won 6 awards. In 1976, I won 3 awards, 3 different poems in 3 different categories. The literary competition, the performing in a literary competition.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you submit your poems, that's pseudonym, so the judges don't know to write the poem. So 1976, I smuggled out 3 poems. I won 3 awards.
Wow.
Orlando War. 1977 again, I smuggled out 3 poems, and they won 3 awards in 3 different categories. Because all of my poems, will get published, from those 6 awards, 376 and 377, were not poems that I was authorized to sing, because we are runaway.
Yeah, so it's...
Yeah, we are runaway, we escape, we are escapee. Yeah, Mr. Guy get sent.
Oh, you smuggle them out. You gave it to somebody to give to somebody, to the gleaner?
Award, and he take it to my mother.
Oh.
Because I used to keep my poems a collection, and they used to read certain people sell the money for contraband, like money and radio and, gleaner star, because if you were caught with a gleaner or a star without, the prisoner stamp on it, the punishment. Yeah.
Wow.
And so yeah, some ones of them that read themselves regular. I was one of them kind of people. And so they read my cell one time on confiscating all of my poems. All of my poems they confiscated. And I was take before the superintendent. And the super looked for me, and the super said to me, why, Virgin, when we can write so much poem about blood, sweat, and tears, you understand me I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I make him know so well. I write about, you tell him what me write about. Okay? And the poem is called, this is one of the poems I deal with prison, but if you don't know, right? Same ask him, he said, why do one of your poem up your blood? So you want to write about flowers and that's to me, mom. You ask, why do you write so much about blood, the sweat, and tears? Don't you write about trees, flowers, birds, love? Yes. I write about trees with the branches and silver roots. I write about flowers and grapes. I write about birds, caged birds struggling. I write about love for the destruction of oppression. That poem came out of, says it from that. So I rewrote, because most of my poem, even now, my head first, I'm going to put it on paper.
That's the real poet.
It was more so them time. You know, it was necessary to have a publisher, but my poems were composed. This is like the rhythm. Because in 1976, when I entered literary competition, the judges, they report at the Tom Avenue said, Echo signal a new trend in Jamaican rhythm, in Jamaican poetry, in that it introduced reggae rhythm. Now, these are people that are reading poems, a poem on paper, but they were able to detect the reggae rhythm.
Because it flowed.
Yes.
Flowed.
Adobe.
Yeah.
The whole process is dubbing, you know. So.
And that is what dub poetry means, really, right?
Yeah, because I didn't want to be described as no Chaucer and Shakespeare. And I this the one. But you know, I rather Caribbean poetry.
Yeah.
The fun thing I be with, and my poetry was informed not by literature, the kind of literature like
again, it's waves, it's frequency,
or you know, Claude McKay. My poetry was inspired by poets like Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Burning Spear. So these were my poets, and I was into the music in a way where, you know, I go on for dance and like how someone dance business, but you know, I had a relationship with music. So my poetry was really informed, you know, by the music. You know, you have some points where, you know, so I mean, like I'm slow, Claude McKay, Maya Angelou, or them kind of way. But I really, for me, the greatest poet, you know, Bob Marley, you know. Although you have some other one, someone writes someone thing, but yeah, Bob, but when listen to, let me just stop listening to Bob.
What's your favorite, Bob? You have a favorite?
Running Away.
Yeah.
I actually did Running Away, you know, me and Monty Alexander.
Oh.
Yes, me and Monty. In fact, we did 2 tracks. And Bob, I just love Running Away. So I decided me and Courtney Panther. You know Courtney Panther?
I've heard of him.
Bass, yeah, original AK7 bass player. Come my band named AK7 Armageddon Nights Column 7.
School.
Yeah, I've seen. And it's an independent album. Because my debut album, you know, me produced my debut album. But Blaze Trail, guys got them first album and all them things that producer me. Because we are talking about Narcos Garby. So me hear some of them are chat. Or some of the people them are called dub poets. Them are reggae poets. Before they were just poets.
And that's what we call it.
Meet them in my audience, name them. Meet them the first time I see them in my audience and see them. And then when I make that shred, them pick up and I run with it. Because what we do, you know, to this very day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All of them people where I can get them just coming like some jellyfish. Jellyfish are not working with them. Them coming like jellyfish because if I'm gonna call me a dog poet, I know I'm not a dog poet. No, I say I'm not a dog poet, you know. Me, a dog poet. Because they discourage dog poetry. I don't know why.
How did
we know down on the totem pole of the society. I remember say we are runaway. We never talk about ex-convict for what? You know, so we are runaway. But there are some little subservient. You understand? Yo, and serious. We have some we have some people. I'm gonna start about Rasta. In music on a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Music on a whole. Our culture. And one of the things that is paramount in all cultures is the poetry. Because song is poetry, you know.
Of course it is.
Because poetry is the essence of theatre. Because you can take a poem, you can take any one of them poem, as short as it may be, and stage that. So it depends on your skill as a poet. So, you know, if me can sing, yeah. So I have a great speaking voice, so I recognize that. Yeah. So if you can chat, you use. So Bob can sing, so I mean, like he delivers his poetry because poetry put to music, them call it what? Lyrics, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get the coin? Did you coin the word or the title father of dub poetry, or who gave that to you?
No, well, I've never, I want can look, I've never, Oku Onuora, former Orlando Augusta, so me never say me kind of, because, you know, it's some little cheap business that, all right, dub in, dub out, to dub. If you go say, why I'm me kind of phrase dub poetry, I come like some little cheap business.
Well, no, the father of dub.
No, man, me not,
Somebody give you?
well, people give me no know who. Some of the people see me as
The father.
the father of the poetry. Because prior to all of them people, yeah, when LKJ just come out, before me put up my debut album, LKJ had 3 albums out. And when the LKJ touched out a road with a major British company, he was marketed as a reggae poet. He was marketed as a reggae poet, not a dub poet. He was marketed. But he write an article in a Race Today, a magazine called Race Today. I never read, because I didn't in prison. So this, and then he described DJs like you and them people as dub poets. But I never read the article because people say to myself, how do you describe yourself? I say, well, you know, I describe myself. What me do is dubbing, you know. When me dub rhythm, you know, my poetry, and me take the poetry, the rhythm there, and me dub out unconsciousness, and me dub in consciousness is a process of dubbing. Henceforth, you know, I say, dub poetry, dub. A dub will come for dub. Henceforth, dub poetry. Because enough of them, when you see a chat, and them are called it, yo, I say them are jellyfish. You understand me I deal with? I mean, you know, I mean, no pun intended. Anyhow, when I said, because them disparage the thing, them not give credit where credit is due. I don't want nobody come praise it, because we no look, the system, academia can't credit me, academia can't bestow nothing upon me. Because I'm a carbon copy. You go to the university at Western Literature, and everybody in the same class and the same textbook they use carbon copy going there. You understand what I deal?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so, and then you have some poets now from, me I talk about from academic, poetry, you know, is the top of the top when it comes to art. You know, the performing arts, literature, you know, I mean, poetry. And the poets them come in now like some gatekeepers. Because in different cultures, poets were used to big up the king and big up the liquor man. Because words are powerful. You understand me I deal with? So a noble guy with a girl, a poet, you know, I mean, you know, and him, you know, write a poet, a stone in his virtue, and he was a little, you know, I mean, they're a fleep and all, yeah, not enough.
How did you go from Orlando Wong to Oku Onuora? How did you get that name? Tell us how that name came about.
Originally, my mother, because my mother was into Shakespeare, you know, as you like it and things. So, henceforth, Orlando, you know, Augusta, as you like it, you know, and things. So, original name was Orlando Augusta. Wow. Now, I did that L, and because of, you know, when I do a L, and people, the Trinity give thanks. Sister B, Barbara Gludan, Beautiful Soul, Leona Forbes, and Mervyn Morris. So it's a most woman called, yo, you say, yeah, some man get all box on, because them have woman. Me no like weak woman, me no like fool woman. My mother and my grandmother, yo, because man underestimate woman, because girls, you can't do what a guy do. Guy, you can't do what a woman do. Go with this. None at all. Go with that. And we're not talking sexually.
Yeah.
Man can breed.
Nope.
Anyhow, let's not go there.
So the name So your name is Igbo.
Yeah, it's Igbo.
Igbo.
And I got reprieved but from the government general. Barbara Gludon, Leona Forbes, spearheaded, especially Barbara Gludon and Leona Forbes, spearheaded freeing me. And people are right. Free or no, I'm free. So I was eventually given a reprieve by the governor general. So I had two choices. So I forgot our school or go. Somebody decided, say, no, I'm going to study theatre arts.
So you went Edna.
So I them time I call Creative Arts Center because I'm looking at this poetry. It's a script. Audio visual production are the things. So learn what theatre arts and them way there. But the poetry was what was fun. So I go Edna. And I was escorted by two warders because by the time we get reprieve, when we start Edna, our Creative Arts Center at the time, you never have no parole at all. In fact, when the then Minister of Justice, I believe Minister of Justice somewhere, Carl Ratchie, was introducing the bill to bring about reform in the penal institution, I mentioned my name in the Parliament. Maybe use that as a reference, So, when I say basically, it's like, you don't need if you go credit me, them people can't do that at all. Because, that force, I am not using, I use a stage of entertainment. I use entertainment to disseminate my message.
Mm-hmm.
And poetry alone cannot change the world. It will take concrete political action to bring about real changes. Poetry is a vehicle to inform people, to dub out consciousness, dub in consciousness. It's a mean, yeah? Mm-hmm. So, entertainment, but,
We're going to go back to your name. Who gave you the name?
I can't remember his name. It means to teach art. It means to teach art at the art school. Sculpture. It means to deal with clay works. I mean, Ghana come from. One of them country on the dark continent where people call Africa. We call it the dark continent. So I did the end of year Christmas concert. They had it by the dance school. So, I was asked because them time I'm the woman, the poet. So I was asked to perform. So I up on stage and we dropped two poems and him forward, him check me, him said to me, when we come off a stage, Oku Onuora. I said, hold on, brother. Just, where you say a while ago? Oku Onuora. I said, what that mean? And he told me, Oku Onuora means the fire that burns in the desert. And Onura means the voice of the people. At the time, I was about to marry the woman that I loved. Her name is Dugo of Mercy, formerly Phyllis Ramblin, right? So she, said, boy, I can't have no one business.
She brought it out.
So we were actively seeking a name apart from, and that never changed me, but names are powerful, names are savable. 100%. So I adopted the name,
And it fits you.
Yeah, and when we say adopt the name, someone call him name, can't pan it long, but it's...
Right on the grid, on the president.
How did that happen? Siri.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you see the technology. And maybe just silent that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, come into the technology,
I know.
The technology. What were they a while? Yeah, this is the name thing. So, she said, well, I don't know one thing, So, she changed her first name from Phyllis. So, just one name she changed, which is a Dugo.
Mm-hmm.
And she took on Onura. So I took on the name. So my name, you have some man and them they call them say by some name, Rastafari, Makanen and them kind of thing there. But when police stop them and them come passport, I said James Reed. when police stop me say, Rastaman, where your name? Me say, my name Oku Onuora, Rastaman. Oh dear man. Me say, my name Oku. You want the whole name Oku Nagozal Onuora. Bang. When me present my passport at any entry point in the world, Oku Onuora, it's set.
Yeah, man. I love it.
You understand me? Yeah. So when I just chat. So right now, I blaze, you know. Odessa. Mm-hmm. From the year start, 2024, me not do no interview. We have all people where ask me for the interview. Friends, yeah. Me not do no interview. For some 15 years, me not do no interview and make a public statement, you know. Before me put out, wait name there, you know. The album now 2013, you know, a movement, you know, with Monty Alexander play, wait name the pun. You understand? So, we don't just chat. And right now, I am overwhelmed. Let me tell you something. The toxic atmosphere when I said I take place in entertainment, and it permeates entertainment from journalism. The whole of them are some tabloid. Who different from who? The pan stage and a tabloid. Them have one thing called all the night, the fix, and it's tabloid. You know what tabloid is?
Yes, I know. So there's the thing with my podcast, and I said this to everybody, when I produce TV, I produce Daytime Live and I produce Reasonings with Odessa, anything that I do is for entertainment slightly, but education, but I'm not into gossip.
No,
I've never been into gossip. I've never been into mix up and them kind of things.
You all right. Truthfully, you know, the balance, that will be my third collection of poems, you know, cause no drop a thing in a 2025 called balance. Cause bird can't clap, fly on one, and one hand can't clap. So you have to have balance in anything that you do.
Right.
Okay? And I'm not saying, you know, because me now paint everything with a broad brush.
But I know what you're saying.
But
everything
overall,
is basically the same. It's like you would watch Rolling Stone, that's so prolific in entertain for musicians and artists, and art has turned into gossip now. And Billboard has moved from Billboard about charts and giving you more information. It's moved more into gossip. So it's the same thing that we're seeing locally. Everything is the same.
Historically, you know, they're always a watchdog for entertainment. Mm-hmm. So the newspapers, the television, them not operate in a vacuum, you know. Because the biggest struggle, and it has been, but now it has intensified, and especially with the technology and all them things, the biggest piece of real estate, you know, that's been battled for, you know, between biggest piece of real estate what we have to talk about. It's the mine.
Of course.
It's the mine. You know, a lot of people lose it and them don't really realize what's going on. You know, I mean, you know, when I look and I see the things that we are accepting, like me see them beat one TikToker, I don't really follow them up, right? Me see them beat one TikToker, and everybody coming out, and Spicy coming out, and them Rary and Vain, and you understand? Because you have some money coming like Janko, you know.
Which one it?
Yeah.
Which one the story?
Including ones them who wear the Rasta costume.
Well, there should be. So you think that there's no more lack of journalism? That's what you're really trying to say. I mean, people are not researching. People are not going into.
But you see music, you know, because make you check when disco come out. You had the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. You had Mitterrand, you had Le Pen, you had Reagan, and all them kind of thing there. And conscious music was deliberately dumbed down. Mm-hmm. We see that take place in Jamaican music too, you know.
Now it has, because dance culture is what's running Jamaica.
When you said no, we know for a little while, you know.
Well, during my era when I grew up, I listened to a lot more positive hip hop. So I had a lot of conscious hip hop, a lot of conscious reggae growing up listening to. But now reggae is watered down to me personally, as well as dancehall.
Yeah.
it's not an art form anymore. Everybody's worshipping the devil.
Yeah,
It's
man.
very much demonism and that kind of thing.
But give thanks still, there are ones and ones it used to, because, who are championing the cause.
Like who? Who can you?
In terms of name-wise, I'm not really, because when I listen to, me hardly read and listen to certain of the music, because you have what call residue. So you read a book, and when you don't read the book, you say, yeah man, and then you draw off a pen and paper. But then, if you should let that cool on, wait until a couple of days, and you look at it again, say, whoa, where me get that from? Residue. So, I'm not a prolific writer. I am not a current writer. I have to be moved. It have to move me. So I have not written a poem about COVID. I have not written a poem about George Floyd.
Oh.
Probably one day I will.
Are you going to So as we're wrapping out, are you going to be putting out something pretty soon, like another book of poetry?
Yes, balance. And wow, you play an important role.
Really?
Yes.
Myself and Latoya. I must have to give
yourself
Latoya
and Latoya, because I haven't done an interview in a while. You give me free rein, you say, no, sir, chat. You understand? Because for a while I didn't do any interviews, because the same old question. And when after I do the interview, them time that was articles and them thing there. You wonder if I you them interview. And then you do an interview, and the question them with them ask you, they're not addressing anything of relevance. Basically. So that say me now mention recent incident where a TikToker get beaten, and we see people where really who are influencers.
Influencers.
Yeah, cause it's more so for me when I try to say influencers. It could so like
Bite your tongue.
Influence. What do you call the word?
Anybody know what he's saying?
Like a flow.
Influencer, yeah.
Yeah, no, me see, because everybody's, yeah, social media influence. Come on. When you look at these people, when you look with the value and attitude, right now we are in a serious crisis. There's a disconnect between one generation and the next generation. There's a disconnect. Okay?
But your poetry book is going to be about that. Balancing.
Well, my thing is always about balance, but this is how I call it balance, because we really need a balance, because there's a disconnect. I remember a thing where ones and ones they know me, we say generation link.
No.
Because there's really a disconnect between, the generation where, have the platform and people like me. Some of the ones them get so comfortable, they're running scared and all them things. Somebody don't want to say nothing.
Right.
Because there's some like a bad man ism and all them things there. So you have some people that I say, call name. We refer to them as shapeshifters, tasters, and
Jelly.
You understand me I deal with? Yeah. You come in there like some turkey vulture. Every little thing them soup down panic. Me see all a man where Rastaman. Where big Rastaman, big, media and thing. A little thing happen between a fam people. Phantom Moja, the man is them and all them kind of thing. You say you have a little man and know every little thing him have to refer, him have to fly down like Janko. And he made a statement, because you have some people who listen to me literally, because I have the choice to do what I want to do. So there are some people who don't listen to them too tough. But he remarked that a light should have dropped down when the man up on stage. The light should have dropped down and dropped on man's head. No, come on. And you talk about righteousness. I'll lick you all with one of them light there in your head.
All right.
I'm not advocating
violence.
No. Balance.
Balance. And as we balance out, we're going to end this podcast Uncle Oku, before you leave, I want to give you, I can't give you flowers, but I can give you a little gift courtesy of Cooyah. And that is for you.
Yes.
And I just want to say thanks again and for doing this for me and for doing this for the Jamaica Book Festival.
I mean, like, I'm still Odessa.
Yes.
From the year start, people have approached me to do, we have to find some time for chat, for reasoning.
Yeah, we're going to have a proper reason off camera as well.
And then I love the whole thing about reason, because Walter Rodney, I don't know if you're familiar.
I've heard of it.
Walter Rodney. We talk about reasoning, grounding with my brothers and all them things there. And I am actually fashioning a presentation to take on the road, within a short time. And I really reasoning and groundation, more and call it. I use poetry and motivational talks to motivate people. You use that medium.
Are you guys motivated? Yeah. Are you tired or are you motivated? Yeah.
Yeah, because we need to be connecting with each other. We need to be connecting with the generation that is forward and all them kind of thing there. And them say age is not, it's just a number. Because I'm 72,
Wow.
And get to know, me a bubble.
Yeah.
Me a bubble.
Yeah.
But my biggest friends, them, are the little people, them.
Yeah.
You understand? I'm always open to learn. I'm always open to learn. I'm always open to learn every day. I encourage you. Me live in an upscale ghetto. Me live in one place them call upscale ghetto. Because my house join on. Well, fortunately for I live on a corner lot, so I can walk 90 degrees. Yeah? So I'm very fortunate. But I live in an upscale ghetto.
Okay, that's...
And I've been living there for a while and I refuse. I have a daughter where, we call them, she say I get up. But what this does to me, keeps me close to the youths at risk. The people that I really am concerned about. You understand? Really, really concerned about them. So we need now to. Let me tell you something. Me said enough of them are going like them a lion, but them are puss, them are some jellyfish. We need to speak up. Values and attitudes are important. We have lost it on the rock here. We have lost it. Look at the behavior of our school children.
Yeah.
Look at the behavior of our political representatives in public. Disgraceful. Okay, when we look at what has been offered as entertainment, when we look at people who say they are practicing journalism, it's a joke. It's a joke. Some serious intervention. I will not talk about prayer alone. Is needed.
Yeah.
That's included.
Yeah.
Bless up.
Yeah. All right, Uncle.
That's one love,
Thank you so much for joining us.
A pleasure.
Everybody. Subscribe and listen on Revolt Podcast Network and watch and subscribe on O Access Jamaica's YouTube channel. Peace.